All right, welcome back to the 80 Star Basketball Channel, the only star basketball channel. I'm going to bring you sports card madness. Next episode, I'm going to do a small interview with Nick. So I reached out to him. He's been putting some fun things out there for as far as the 101 versus 86 flair. So I thought I would. I love that he does little jokes here and there. He always gonna put some stuff out now, and just really cool that I actually said, hey, let's get together. So the last two interviews that I've done, I've just absolutely loved, and so I've been looking forward to doing this with something like this with Nick, as he's put the stuff out, and I'm just like, I'd love to talk to that guy. So that's all just. What I'm going to be working on and changing up a little bit. I want a little more of the pricing and the fun star and kind of getting that vibe back that I had early on. Obviously, I want you to get the truth and information and the good debates that need to happen. Speaking of that, Cajun Cardboard put out something after we talked, and he put out this on the Star 101. Take a look and go kind of vote. He puts out options. He puts out all these cards. He's basically saying, would you do this? Take all these cards, and this is a PSA 7 101 or the PSA 9. So you can read what I wrote on it. I'm not going to give you what I said. I have my answer on there, but you guys can go out, and I just think it's really cool. He put this out. He's kind of taken a survey or a poll. So go look at that. Also, Beckett wrote to me. I wrote a thank you email to them, and he wrote back and said he just appreciates the passion, and we got him riled up and, and kind of laughed. And so he saw he must have seen I sent him the links and everything. So I think he responded after he watched them and everything to what I did. So it was definitely a really cool ending, and I know that was difficult for some people to watch as far as what was being said and whatnot, but it was so good, and it just, again, mass respect. I can't say enough, and I will continue because he just absolutely impressed me, and I was just again very thankful. So the other thing I do want to note is because, and I started this process probably about 3 weeks ago, something. The 101 jumps have priced me out of what I had plans to do, and hoping. What I wanted to accomplish as far as a collection. I thought some things were going to happen. The speed of this has made me change directions a little as far as what I know I'm going to be able to attain. So I am making moves with some of my cards, and to try and either lateral or consolidate, and going to be moving up. It's just like I had plans for like 3 copies of the 101, and that isn't going to happen. And now I've actually kind of changed a little bit of course, and things that I'm going after are a little more rare. And that's what I was kind of trying to allude to with like talking with Brian and, some others. There's some things. So that's going to be a long drawn out process, but I'm definitely making changes, which I didn't think that I was going to have to do. Okay, so just wanted to get to kind of the crux of what I was going to talk about today. I don't want to say it started here, but obviously the prices of 101s are really hitting new heights. And I heard a lot of noise this week, and a lot of I think counted six different social media people basically all coming out and basically saying pump and dump, or prices are manipulated, or they're just way too high, or something to that effect. But almost everything, it's all pump and dump, and hearing that. Geoff Wilson obviously came out this. You guys know this by now, and this was just a really not bright move on Geoff Wilson's part. This was like, I like Geoff in a lot of ways. I think he's good with kids. I get that he's controversial, the whole PPP loan thing and whatnot. I'm not saying the man's perfect, but I think overall. Kind of a net positive for the hobby, and he's really good with kids. That's like the one thing I really like about him. But this was just an absolute open mouth insert foot that he kind of came out, and he made it confusing and vague. And he showed, if you're going to be a very high prominent figure, you got to be transparent and understand that, hey, this is what I'm doing, or tell people that you're trading something or you're doing something different. But if I was going to come out and say this story, I would have been like, hey, I am now up on the card still, but I did sell my original one, and then I did, reattain it again. But at least, I'm making the right decision. He put $144,000 card profit, and I can see why people are pretty upset. First, I thought he was just, kind of saying, "Hey, I did a good move," and I was all for it. It's like, you know what? People slam me enough. Take your victory lap. I get it, but at the same time, this was just a not bright move. So this all kind of led rise to Dan the card man. He kind of looked, and other people, the other ones are looking at that, and rightfully so. I understand why they would look into what Geoff was saying there and going, what? This doesn't match up, and have all sorts of questions. So this was obviously not a good look. But Dan comes out and says a few things that I didn't really care for, and he also points to this collect article as basically kind of one of the things he believes that what this collect article by who was it, by Will Stern on September 3rd, is pretty much saying, hey, it's all, it's mostly institutional investors, and it's a XRC is a non-rookie designation, and that's false. Beckett disagreed with that while I was on air. I still have that on my video. Go and look at the Beckett interview. I bring up this article, and he basically says that's not true. And this article kind of, to me, said, hey, it's a non-rookie, and it ends off of calling it ugly. So it's basically saying it's a non-rookie that's ugly, that only Wall Street is buying, and there was one sale of BGS, and then in quotations, sales volume. Just one public sale of BGS 9 has occurred in 2024. Why would you use BGS 9? Like, these things that don't make sense. So it's just really frustrating, the things that are going out. So I wanted to give Star people, a heads up. If you're not hearing a lot, is as things go up, the further this gets up, the bigger the noise, and a lot of it unfounded and just non-speculation. And I think on the flip side, people would be like, well, you're just pumping. I hear all this thing about pumpers, and I'm like, define pumper. What does that mean? Exactly. And it all comes down to people pumping it up so they can get a profit. For people who on this channel, obviously, know that I'm a collector. I'm not here for profit. That doesn't matter to me. I want my collection right. And what's really funny, I can back up with what I'm saying. On this channel, out of 5 people I've had on for an interview, 3 people I got knowingly 3 people who disagree with my stance on the 84 star, and actually. The Sports Card Madness, Nick coming on, he's going to be 4 out of, so it's going to be actually 4 out of 6. So 2/3 of people have a background like 86 Fleer is the rookie card pack pulled. Nick, I think, came a little bit more on the fence. He seems to be, his mind is a little more open to it, but he's just like all of us. We kind of grew up that way, so you kind of have this embedded in you. But just that's just saying, if I was pumping this card, would I say have all those people on, but also in the last bunch of weeks, as I say, if you're concerned about price, then hit pause. It's okay. FOMO is a lot of the price increase. The fundamentals are there for sure, but the speed at which it's happening, of course, people don't want to miss out. They don't want it to not get it and the price to be higher. That's pretty simple. There are no earnings that this card will produce. There's nothing like that. But it's just like as in most things. But the reason it changed is there was a catalyst, which was PSA grading, and then there was the reason. The reason is that catalyst created a perception shift, and also the reason is the low population. Combining those two is what you're seeing. This isn't the COVID jump. So I did want to say this to people. I'm hearing things that are just like, I'm rolling my eyes, but it is enough of it that if enough people start to say it and kind of the anger ensues, and what it seems like this huge backlash, especially if Geoff gave them a reason, to be aware that there is noise out there, and the noise is probably going to grow if the price goes up further, more just at this speed. So again, I will actually say I would welcome, a pause. I would welcome a pause. Do I think it's going to crash? Absolutely not. I don't. And here is the reason why. Here is the indicator I was going to give you, and here is the reason why. It's supply and demand versus pump and dump. Pump and dump is obviously someone has an intent, or a group has an intent to go up and pump something and then get rid of it, sell to make money. Everyone knows what a pump and dump is, but it's driven up for a whole different reason. Supply and demand is like, what does it work here? Is a perception shift, low supply, and the supply has dropped. I am the only one person who has tracked this for a year. And I noted this early in my channel at the early year. Wow, supply really dropped. Because remember this alt, which pulls in all of the results from different auction houses, and it pulled these in. This were in the 60s. And now this is what, 26. Actually, I think it peaked at 73. I think that was my highest. But 26 for just having things up on eBay or PWCC or Golden. And I believe there's currently 4 auctions right now for bid, and I think this is one of them. This PSA 6. And then you have this a BGS 7.5, the Golden. There's an auto, really nice. So 7.5 and a 9. Obviously, that's the big kid at the moment on Golden. And then you have BGS 7. So these are the only auctions that's happening. This is your indicator right here. Look at supply. Go on alt. Go and look. There's some up for sale on the private the private Facebook group. Go and look at these. As soon as you start seeing a big jump in that might be your indicator, if you need it, that you need to move on, or do whatever, or that's going to be the thing that to watch is supply. I personally, again, don't care, but I would welcome, because a pause in price appreciation, because it starts to people start to will really the quicker it goes up, the further people can react on emotion and pull back, and then all of a sudden you'll see like maybe an overnight kind of dump thing. So I would welcome a pause. If they continue to go, the market's going to do what the market's going to do. It just is, and the people are going to go. But I don't see a supply increase, so it's about the same. And a few will come up here and there, but that's what I'm looking at. So if to give anyone a helpful indicator of supply and demand as opposed to pump and dump. A pump and dump, I see all the collectors buying. I haven't seen like anything that would say an institutional investor. I've talked to one buyer for the PSA 9, and I actually talked to a bidder, and I talk to the seller often. So this isn't an institutional thing. That becomes like this vague term that people can throw out. But do I know what's going to happen? Obviously not. But I do want to say, these aren't as undervalued as they were. That is obvious. But just keep vigilant. But if you want the card, I say that's when I say get it. If you love the card, if you absolutely go, you know what, I really want to have that. That's the true Michael Jordan rookie card, and I'll be okay with the price going down a little. I'll be okay with the price going up a little. You know what? That's where I think the sweet spot is. You almost are setting yourself up to be in a lose-lose situation if you're just worried about the price, because if you get it and it drops, you're going to be upset. And if it goes up a little, you're not going to be that happy. You're going to need it, and you're just going to be nervous owning it. So that's where I go, be careful, hit pause. Again, I see this as a supply demand thing. there is no concerted effort of a pump and dump. So just, but obviously be vigilant, be careful and look at auctions. Anything can be manipulated on any particular auction, but I'm not seeing it across the board. So just be careful in what you're doing, of course, and watch the supply and keep an eye on that. Obviously, keep an eye on prices, and then that's the best you can. So, like, subscribe. I will see you at the next video.